The opinions expressed on the X and Y Show are the sole opinions of the host. Please note, there is no intentional desire to offend any member of the listening audience. With that said, if you still feel offended, tough shit.
It's time for the X and Y Show with your host, Mr. Roosevelt. He talks about man topics, lady topics, and relationships. He talks about love, sex, and infidelities. He even gives good tips. There is no other show that compares to the X and Y Show.
Oh yeah. Sit back, take your clothes off, and relax. It's time for the X and Y Show, where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. The only place on the planet that tackles the topics that everyone wants to talk about, but no one is brave enough to address. Nothing escapes X and Y, baby. Now, here's your host, Roosevelt Colbert.
Hello, how you doing? Normally I would start off my show on a much chipper note. But tonight I really, to be honest with you, I don't feel like doing a show. I don't feel like recording a show, but I am. It's going to be very short. I just want to rap to you a little bit. In relation to what happened this week and the Breonna Taylor case, and all the things that are happening in this country, and when Mr. Floyd, those of you know, the protest was going on, everyone was saying that there's definitely going to be change this time. This is going to be different. And, change is definitely coming after this. And, when that was going on, I was saying, there's nothing going to change. Nothing going to change. Even the celebrities was like, I think this was going to be different, blah, blah, blah. And I was always like, it's not going to change shit. It's not going to change a goddamn thing in this country. And everybody was saying, oh, Roosevelt, you're so negative. You have to be positive. We're actually making strides and all that shit. And I just let them, have it, whatever. You can think what you want to think, but nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to ever change in this fucking country. And for those of you motherfuckers out there who believe that I somehow hate this country, that's bullshit. I don't hate this country. I've fought for this country in the fucking military. I don't hate this fucking country. Fuck you. Just because I'm voicing on my platform, and if you don't like it, take your ass somewhere else. I'm voicing on my platform how I feel, how blacks are being treated in this country. It makes me a traitor. Fuck you. I love this country. I love this country a lot more than some of you motherfuckers. But it's not about me. It's about my race. It's about how we're being treated in this country. How we've been being treated over the centuries in this country. And when I was a kid, I used to always hear about the things, read about different things about what blacks went through. Like, wow, it must have been pretty bad. But I'm living in this shit today. I mean, it's different. It's not as bad. You don't have the Klansmen riding around like they used to. They still around, but they're not, just having free willy and like they used to. But they're still around. They're still here. But it's not quite like it used to be. But, it's still fucked up. I mean, how long are we supposed to just take this shit? How long are we supposed to be in our apartments, waiting for police officers to come in and for a no-knock warrant and just blazing, basically assassinating us in our own crib. Or fuck it, we're getting killed while we're jogging through a neighborhood. Or get shot 9 times, when the situation should even escalated to that far, and being shot 9 times to where we're paralyzed. Or being shot in the back at Wendy's, for some shit that, shouldn't have escalated to that point. Or being killed in our own apartment because some bitch thought it was her apartment. So she came in, an apartment and killed a guy because she thought it was her apartment. We are in our own crib getting killed. Or selling bootleg cigarettes, getting choked to damn death. And I can go back to even when I was a kid. If you know about Miami, you can pretty much Google the McDuffie riots. And at the time I didn't understand what was going on quite much. I didn't understand the reasons behind it. But, I understand it was a fucked up situation, but I didn't know what was going on really. I was too young. I was really young. I was like 79, 80, somewhere around there. But I remember it. But I didn't understand why. Now I do. A black man was basically beaten to death by, I think it was 4 police officers. And, it's like, we have, a voice, and some people try to, illustrate their voices by just doing a simple thing like kneeling, and that's looked upon as being a traitor for your country. You're disrespecting the flag. It's not about a fucking disrespecting your flag. It's about to raise awareness to how blacks are being treated by police officers in this country. That's all it was about. And some of you motherfuckers know that. You just don't give a fuck. I don't know why people are always trying to give racist motherfuckers the benefit of the doubt. A lot of motherfuckers know that. The reason what it's for. But they just don't care. They don't give a fuck. Shut the fuck up, nigga. Just play football. That's what it's all about. A lot of you saying that things have actually changed. Really? Has it really changed in this country? How? From my perspective. A lot of you saying things have changed. Well, you're not in slavery anymore. Well, okay. All right. Okay, yeah, there's no more slavery. In the literal sense. But there's slavery in other ways. We still being fucked with in other ways. Education in urban communities or the inner cities are bullshit. Money being siphoned away on a yearly basis. So, people in urban communities are not getting educated. Worth a damn. And I see it every day in my job. Blacks coming in barely know how to damn email. And that's because they're a product. It's not just that they're a product of public schools. I went to a public school. But because they're a product of a poor community. And nobody give a fuck. There are 2 legal systems in this country. There's one for white people. There's one for black people. Period. If you don't believe that, then you're a naive motherfucker. Blacks are being sent to prisons at phenomenal rates. Especially young black men. I consider myself lucky. I escaped the system so far. There's still time. There's still time for them to get me. I'm not totally safe. But so far, I escaped the system. Never been in prison, never been in trouble. But I can't, a lot of my brothers and sisters can't say that. Being locked up for bullshit crimes and all kind of shit. pay in the country is not equal. You know, I can be an accountant in a Fortune 500 company, and I'm not making as much as my white counterpart. It's all kind of shit in this country where black people are just being shit on. And it's always been that way, and in my opinion, it always will be. Nothing will ever change. I just don't have a positive feeling on that things will change in this country. I know a lot of you saying, well, man, you shouldn't feel that way, Roosevelt. How else am I supposed to feel? And we're still getting killed like dogs. And speaking of dogs, you know, when Michael Vick got in trouble, his dogs got more justice than Breonna Taylor did. You know, Michael Vick went to prison for the shit he did to his dogs. And we've had far worse happen to us, and nothing happens. Nobody gives a fuck. And it's not just, you know, when I say society, I'm not talking about just the United States. I'm talking about the world. This is a world thing. A lot of you motherfuckers from Canada, they, oh, there's no racism over here. We're not racism. There's no racism over here. We're not racist. You know, we love everybody in Canada. We don't see color, and that's bullshit. I've been to Canada. There's some racist motherfuckers over there as well, especially in Montreal. You know, very racist. They're just not as out with it as, you know, some of these clowns over in the United States, but they don't like blacks either. So it's not just the United States. This is a worldly thing. You know, blacks are catching hell every day. But I'm just talking about the United States because it's relevant to me. That's where I live. But it's not just the United States. I just want to stress that. But how long are we supposed to accept this way of life? How long are we supposed to just take it? What are we supposed to do? You know, for my white people and my white listeners out there, you know, if this was happening to you, what would you do? What if your sons and daughters, or particularly your sons, you know, left the house and going to get Skittles and walking in the neighborhood, his neighborhood, and get murdered by some silly motherfucker? And how would you feel? What would you do? How would you feel if your son got shot by police officers 9 times? How would you feel if your son got choked to death for selling cigarettes? My white listeners, how would you feel? What would you do? And my question is, how long do you want us to take this? You know, because I'm really pissed. Really pissed. How long are we supposed to do nothing? You know, marching is good, you know, it's okay, but it's not getting nothing done. You know, maybe we ought to resort to other means to get our voices heard. And I'm not stalking any violence or anything. I'm not encouraging that, but I'm just, you know, I'm just saying, you know, what are we supposed to do? You know, for those, you know, usually I don't talk about things like this because I try to have shows where, and I'm going to be wrapping it up in a minute because, like as I said, I don't feel like doing the show, but I just want to wrap to you for a minute. But usually I don't do shows like this with real life because I want to get your mind away from this. But, you know, I feel, you know, sometimes I have no choice. I have to use my platform in this manner sometimes. I've only done it like 2 or 3 times. And this is one of those times when I feel very inclined to do so. And this is one of those instances. It's very discouraging to see what is going on in this country. I don't think things will ever change. I don't think people will ever change. You know, people are always saying that we need to train our police officers. How in the fuck? You know, you can't train someone to not be racist. You know, it mind boggles me when people say that shit. You know, our police officers need training. They need more training. Training for what? You can't train someone to like a certain race. If they're racist, they're racist. You can't train no one out of that shit. So, things will never change. It'll always be a cycle. It'll always be a new generation of races being raised in this country. Things will always be the way they are. Black people will always be second-class citizens. That's the way I feel. I don't see anything that would change my mind in the immediate future. And it definitely won't happen in my lifetime. My question is, how long are we supposed to take this? How long are we supposed to just march? Anyway, I just want to rap to you for a second. And, if you think I'm angry, I am. I'm fucking angry. So it's not really a good idea to do a show anyway. I can't do a show. My normal show, my normal way of doing it. So, I just want to, if I can use Chris Cuomo's words, if you're not saying anything that's, if you're not saying that it's wrong, then you're complacent. I'm speaking to my white brothers and sisters, for those of you who are living in Wonderland and saying that everything's peachy, everything's okay, when you know that it isn't. So if you don't say anything, you don't do anything, then you're complacent. Anyway, just wanted to rap to you. I will return next week with a new show. And hopefully, I'll definitely be a lot more chipper mood. But I just wanted to get that off my chest. And this is my platform. And it's my right to do so. So with that being said, I will say good night. And I will see you next week. Later.
You've been listening to The X and Y Show with your host, Roosevelt Colbert, the place where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. Join us next time. You can now put your clothes back on. Or not.